going to kind of walk through some of the requirements that the industry has for welding in reinforced concrete construction. Today we're going to kind of go through some applications, processes and stuff, and then talk about some of the design, construction, and inspection requirements today. Of course, probably most people on the call are more familiar with welding in steel construction. Of course, it's much more common on those erection and construction of steel structures. But there are quite a few applications for welding in reinforced concrete construction, and hopefully everyone today can get a little better appreciation for some of what those requirements are. So I think the webinar description, you all have seen this. We're going to kind of walk through some of these concepts today. I mentioned the outline. Where are the applications for welding, both cast in place and precast, that we're going to go through today, and be primarily talking about a little bit of welding fundamentals and then the various stages of construction project. So what are some of these applications? Probably the main one, especially for cast in place construction, would probably be welded reinforcement splices. And there could be a number of reasons why welding might be preferred over a more traditional lap splice or some other type of mechanical splice that could be used. Maybe there's some larger diameter bars or a significant amount of congestion where welded splice may help relieve some of that congestion. Or if you have a really large bar with a large lap length, the weld can be quite a bit shorter in some of those regions. There are times as well when maybe you are extending a structure if it's existing and extending a couple floors. Maybe there's some continuity that's needed to continue those bars into the new construction if there's an addition or an alteration. Or when we kind of go through some of the code requirements, we'll be talking a little bit about the need for some continuity of our structural integrity reinforcement in our concrete structures. So the picture shown there on the left is kind of an example of a splice. It's a little bit older, but it was a nice project done as part of the highway research program on the fatigue performance of welded reinforcement splices. So even though it's a bit dated, I still like the figure showing some of the knowledge that's been generated over the years that has led into the requirements that we use for welded splices. Another common area is in the development of corbel reinforcement. So if you have a reinforced concrete column or wall panel and you have a beam or something else that needs to sit adjacent to that column, you would have a corbel protruding from that face. And at the top of that corbel, you have your primary tension reinforcement because that corbel behaves effectively like a short cantilever. And so developing that reinforcement in the relatively short length is necessary before you kind of reach that interface with the corbel to the column. And so one of the ways that was established back in the 70s and some work by Alan Maddock was to use a bar of the same size perpendicular to that bar, and then you place a weld between the interface between those two bars. There was a recent project down at the University of Texas at Austin, the DOI links down there in the bottom right, that was looking at the performance of corbels and the development of that primary tension reinforcement. Had a nice photo that you can see there on the right side of the slide of what that weld actually looks like. It's an atypical weld. It's actually not included even in AWS D1.4 because the bars are perpendicular to each other, and then you're filling that void with kind of a flare, double flare bevel type weld between them. So that's one application where we use welding and reinforcement.